All right.
So because this is Marques' first podcast with us, we got to do a little introduction here.
Yeah, he's on the team too. He's on the team, baby.
Yeah,
welcome aboard,
bro. Just started the 6-week foundational. Well, he's in like a hybrid. We got Mark in a hybrid program to where he's pretty much like, we don't do. And again, for those of you that don't know, we don't do this for anybody. We don't just streamline somebody from the 6-week foundational into our bodybuilding team. We just don't do that because we've had such an experience with certain people that just can't last. They can't hang with what we do as a team. So it's like, we always make sure that we put people through the foundational first, and then we progress them into the bodybuilding team, which is a much different animal than just a foundational program. So welcome aboard, Mark. It's about time. We've been talking about this for long enough, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, shit. Marky, we talked about you, buddy. I knew about you, gosh, probably like when me and Paul first started. Honestly, he's like, I got this guy that I'm really good friends with. He's like, he'd be a killer up there if we could get him. I was like, keep working on it, because the hardest part is like what you're going through right now, brother. Just creating that system, where you're measuring your food. And Paul told me about a call you had the other day with him where, you were asking him what you do when you go to a restaurant and all that stuff. And that's a great question, and that's the things that we teach you throughout the program, and you're going to keep learning. Like you said, you're in a hybrid one. You're probably going to get more coaching from one-on-one calls and things like that, because we're going to kind of be getting you into season as we're finishing the program and then knock out this prep. And I'm super pumped to be competing with you guys on stage, man. I haven't competed with a teammate since Samantha like 2 years ago. So it'll be exciting.
We're rolling deep, bro. You know what I got to do? I got to get those patches done for those jackets. If it's just at least 3 of us rolling deep at the show, and we all have our Letterman jackets on, everybody knows what time it is. You know what I mean?
And it'll be December down here, so it's nice down here. So we can wear that shit. Right now, it's killer out there. But
I was out there a few weeks ago. It's
were you?
Orlando?
Where were you at?
Orlando.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
For the 50th, Disney's 50th. Yeah.
Oh, very cool. My sister lives just north of Orlando. She used to work at Universal and stuff. It's and that's where the show will be at. The show will be in Orlando. Nationals and Clash will be. Yeah, and that's what we'll do. And we may talk, Marquis. We may talk about you doing a show right before the Clash, just to get you used to like what's going on. The crazy thing with bodybuilding is if you end up pumping too early, you wash out your line. So it's like this very, it's this nitpicky type of thing to where if you spill over, the only way to get back from spilling over is to sweat it out. And you usually don't have time. So that's why people think you're actually dehydrated on stage, but you're not, bro. What you are is you dehydrate before, because it's easier to add water to get to that perfect look than it is to take water out. I was a wrestler, so we used to like spit and run in sweats and all that stuff. And, with bodybuilding, we use sweatsuits and things like that. But it's not, they think if you were completely dehydrated on stage, bro, you'd look like a string bean. You'd have no pump, no nothing. You have to have water to push carbohydrates there. So that's where when Paul was like, do I pump? I'm like, don't do it yet, bro. Because they were going so slow. I'm like, if you wash out the lines, that's from him getting 10th place to him maybe not even placing. That's how tight the competition is there. I told him, I was like, this is what we need. And then we looked at all the other pictures, and I said, if we bring your back up and we bring we know where your body fat is, brother, because you're going to have skin fold pinches. So when you have skin fold pinches, we can tell how much sub-Q fat you have. So when you have subcutaneous fat, it's not a water thing. It's just dieting down and cardioing up more. And so that's where when they told Paul, hey, you need to lean out more and you need to gain more muscle, I was like, they didn't even tell you, Paul, that you need to gain muscle in your back. Because that's where the only place that Paul lost in that show, even to the guy in first place, was his back was a little bit smaller. Shoulders were the same size. Paul's chest was probably better. And his arms were definitely better, but that doesn't get judged as much. But that's where I told Paul, me and him hold more fat in our upper back. So up in this upper back of ours, the pinches are thicker. So when people think my tattoo is what doesn't show my back muscles, no, I just have a higher skin fold pinch. So I just got to keep dieting down. That's why I'm going harder core with my calories right now. And, we'll probably do the same thing with you when we get your check-ins this Sunday, see how your body's looking. And we might even start to do some fluctuating days and things like that. But yeah, man, I'm super excited. I think you're going to be a hell of a competitor. And I tell you what, if you stick with it, it's like I told Paul, I've seen pictures of you. Paul's talked about you. If you stick with it, bro, I guarantee you that we'll turn you pro 100%.
I'm excited. That'd be
I'm
cool.
excited too, brother.
So
real quick,
far, how do you like the program, Mark?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. It's just a lot of just thinking about what you're doing now versus just like, okay, I'm gonna do back and then I'll hit some calves today, or just kind of mix something else in. Now it's like the only thing with the supersetting, obviously, the way crunch is set up, that can be difficult. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. And always let me know too, Marquis, because if I know you're going at, like, if you say like, hey, during the week I'm doing working out at 5 p.m. Yeah, you're never gonna get supersets in there.
Yeah.
So at that point, sometimes I tell people, like, if you see supersets too and you can't fit them in, just do one at a time. That's fine.
That's what
There's
I've
nothing
been
wrong
doing.
with it. Yeah.
For whatever reason, like my gym has just been like a ratchet festival with all the everybody's off school, and I'm just like, where's everybody coming? And I'm like getting upset. Like, what do you guys get out of the way? You're not doing, just your mind starts going there. I'm like, bro. But today, all of a sudden, there was no one there going at the same time. Yeah.
That's funny. Well, and I tell you what, buddy, wait till you start to get closer to prep. Me and Paul are having some issues with our business partner for the Lions. And I told Paul, I said, I'm telling you, the writing is on the wall. If we're having issues now at the start of prep, when we're down to the nitty gritty and we have no energy and no fucking patience, it ain't going to work out real well with this guy. So better just to cut the ties now.
Mm-hmm.
It's plain and clear for Mark. He saw me last year in prep. He saw how pissed off I would get. And dude, okay, Mark, remember that time when I was on the treadmill? I was just starting cardio, and that one dude, I called him because he was talking shit. Remember the guy with the car, Skyler? Yeah. Remember that little bitch? Mark was right next to me. Remember that, Mark?
Yeah, I do.
You came right after.
I remember you were hella pissed, though. Yeah, I remember you you weren't having it. You were hella pissed. My name is Marques Pardue. I go by Mark. Yeah, I've known Paul since we were little. We've been best friends ever since. In adult, playing football. That's where all the weight training came from. So after high school, I kept up with it. And got bigger as I got older. And and as far as like entrepreneurial, I do have a couple businesses. My background is finance, but I'm like self-taught. I didn't really go to school. I learned how to do it just by working for different companies. More on the business side, like mergers, acquisitions, stock trading, different things like that. And then I do acting as well. Paul and I, as you know, we've the first film we did was Shattered Allegiance. That was the very first one, and we've been going ever since. It was way different back then. There was no Netflix and Amazon and Hulu. Otherwise, it'd probably be a totally different outcome. Now. But yeah, I've been doing that. Been obviously serious about the gym. Just throughout my whole adult life, and more recently, that's when Paul and I have been stepping it up. We got videos of us, shrugging like 405 with the hex bar and just going crazy when Paul first got his traps to grow. I remember that. And then it's just been a journey. We've been just on this entrepreneurial tip, just really focusing on multiple streams of income, different businesses, different business ideas. I agree with you what you said as far as having something or multiple streams of income, because like bodybuilding, it may pay the bills, but to have other things that you can launch from that would, your bread and butter, getting like endorsements and, as you said, people have their sponsorship companies and different things like that. It's the same thing that like cheerleaders have to do that are in professional cheerleaders. They have to do swimsuit models and, get on Instagram and YouTube and all these other things to create. So there's definitely there's a lot of opportunity that bodybuilding can produce, which I've always known that because I've seen them do that. Like they'll start motivational speaking, and different things like that, which is really cool. So there's definitely a lot of opportunity here. We're going into like doing acting and directing. I definitely want to step on stage, step on camera, and look like Arnold. So,
100%, bro. That's what we're all shooting for. Well, Paul actually, we're working on doing a Road to Pro this year, so we're going to start doing a little bit of a documentary. We'd love to get you on board and help out and get filming of you, and maybe do all three of us, and because I know you two are professionals at it. You guys will have to coach me up on it, but I think 3 of us and following our journey, somebody that's their first year, somebody that's, me and Paul have missed our pro cards by, I missed mine by 5 spots. Paul missed his by 8 spots. And so, and having you, I think that would be awesome, especially because there's not really a lot of Generation Iron. And I don't want to talk shit, but they suck. Like, they're fucking assholes, dude. Like, they are horrible. They have so many people upset with them, and they have a monopoly on it. So when you get to go out there and show these people like what the sport really entails and all that, it's really, really cool. And I think that's going to be something that, and I'm excited because I love Paul's work. I really admire his work, and I loved his Nawalt stuff. I was able to screen that early and everything, working with him and all that. So I know I'm in good hands with you guys when we're doing that type of stuff.
Totally. Yeah. And not only that, dude, like, you think about Mark, remember when we doing like scenes like in Shattered and Hunger for More and The World Is My Stage, or we go shirtless, right? Films like, Thor and Superman and Man of Steel, these guys they're essentially approaching those roles like you would a contest, like a bodybuilding contest. You got to peak it right. Skylar taught me, like, on the wall when I was doing those scenes. We treated the beach scenes in the wall where I really hit the peak as perfect as we could for Nawalt, given the timing and all the COVID shit that was going on. But we really hit that peak just right, and it was because of all the coaching. It was because of I got the pump just right. I had the water just right. I had the carbohydrates just right. So it's like it's so interwoven that it's actually seamless if you think about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, that's what I want to say. One thing I want your opinion, Mark, is I saw Paul post on his Instagram, and somebody said, "Are you an actor or a bodybuilder?" I'm like, what kind of fucking question is that? Why can't you be both? Like, what the fuck? First of all, I was like, Paul, I'm sorry if that was somebody that's a nice person, but are they fucking stupid? Like, who the hell? Like, you can't do two things. And I told Paul, I'm like, they're so closely related. Sadiq was on Calvin Klein modeling. Sadiq was on Ralph Lauren cologne ads. I had seen Sadiq before I ever knew he competed. I'd seen him in magazines and stuff, and then I'd seen him on online advertisements. And then when I saw him competing at one of the pro shows, I don't know if it was when I streamed or what, but I saw him. I'm like, oh shit, that's where this guy's from. He's a fucking body. Chris Bumstead. They do all these other things, and people like think it's bodybuilding, or like I was telling Paul, like, that just blows my mind that that's even a thing people think. You can't do both of them. Like, that makes no sense to me, but I guess that's how people think.
Yeah, no, it's funny because and but that's like how we grew up. Like, I remember like, it was like you had to do one thing. You went to school and you had to do that one thing, and it's just like now you're realizing that. And then people are afraid to get out of that career now because they've been in it for so long. Like, no, you can do something else. You can do multiple things. You can have a job and still have not even side hustles, but just other businesses that you do. My dad is understanding that now because now he's getting a bunch of contracts and he's doing taxes and a bunch of IT work and all of that. I mean, I think about if he would have been doing that when he was younger, it would have been, a lot more lucrative,
Oh, yeah. For sure. Yeah. Getting multiple avenues of revenue, just like we were saying earlier. That's the name of the game,
Well, that's, and that's kind of like the main thing that I learned too. Like, Mark and I have been at the film thing since, we started in 2008 shooting Shattered Allegiance. I had moved to Los Angeles before that, and I was doing the audition game. And it started back then, whether I knew it or not, it started with me. Basically, I was forced to create my own options, to create my own business, to create my own opportunities because nobody else was giving me an opportunity. So that's what I did. I created a film production company, and I said, you know what, I'm just going to do it myself. And that's how my entrepreneurial spirit was basically born. And then it's tied in so easily now into bodybuilding because, just like we said, entrepreneurship and bodybuilding and acting, they're all very similar. You know what I mean? You got to be a hustler to be an actor, to be a successful actor, to be a successful bodybuilder. You got to be a hustler.
100%. And you model. So, like, what looks better than a guy that's in shape and muscular? Right. Like
100%.
It's like sometimes when I see the underwear models, like on the little thing at Walmart, you see them on the Hanes when you're walking by, and you're like, that guy's not in that good a shape. Or like I used to tell Paul, I'll always remember this conversation because Brad Pitt's from Missouri. I love the movie Troy. I used to think, first of all, I wanted hair like that. I had hair one day, Marques. I had hair, bro. I had long black hair, baby, but now it's gone. But I told him, I said, this will show you stage conditioning, bodybuilding conditioning versus movie star conditioning. Because at movie star, I mean, how Paul looked for Noel, he looked phenomenal. That scene is so sick when they're dropping your robe and everything.
Yep.
But that was the start of his prep, brother. That was how he looked at the start of prep. And then we prepped 4 weeks past that to win the overall. So people think, oh, you know, how they look on the movie. And so I told him, I was like, bro, I'm telling you, the shape we're going to be able to get in. It's not just getting you shredded, Mark, for your shows. It's like, what if you have to be a big burly guy? What if you need to be a little bit overweight? What if you need your face to be fuller? That's all diet, nutrition, taking out the cardio. And so that's why what I really pitched Paul first was like helping him build his career. And then when I saw how much he really loved the sport, I was like, I can see it. This guy, and he had, you know, he's like you. I told Paul, I said, and I was a little nervous because I didn't know you, but now you've been doing better than almost anybody that started the program by tracking everything right off the bat. Nobody's done that. Usually everybody takes 1 week to do that. And so, you know, we put you in a little bit more of a fast track. And the same thing with Paul. I told Paul, he did the same thing. Paul did the 6-week program, everybody. And look at the results we got. After the 6-week program, we said, hey, we're going to take you to the next level and get you ready for a show. And then that fire was lit when he got second and he wanted to get first. But Paul, tell him real quick, when you went, I love this story. When you went with the guy that produced like Sylvester Stallone's movies and some of these other movies, and he was all jacked up, and everybody was just like all over this guy's dick.
Dude, that was okay. So I was down in Beverly Hills. It was last year. I go and meet up with this. I still can't even talk about the stuff that we talked about because it was all confidential. The stuff that he informed me of and the stuff that he was working on. So we'll just say he's a producer in Hollywood who has worked with Sylvester Stallone. So I go to. I
love the cat out of the bag. My bad.
No, it's good. You're good. We didn't say any names, so it could be anybody. But we go to Beverly Hills, and I come straight from the gym because I don't give a damn. Like, I'm at the stage when I go to meet this guy because he requested a meeting with me, and it was through another guy that I knew that did special effects work on the wall actually, and so I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll meet with him. I was like, I'm coming straight from the gym. Like, I'm not getting a suit. I'm not doing that. No. I'm at that stage now. At that point, I was like, I'm at the stage where Hollywood doesn't got shit on me anymore. That's how I saw it, right? I was just done playing the game. I was done with the bullshit. So I was like, fuck it. I'm going on my gym clothes. I go straight from the gym. I'm in a tank top and, you know, shorts or athletic pants or whatever I was wearing. And I come up to this, and we're talking like, as you know, bro, Beverly Hills is a whole different ball game. Right, like as far as the glitz and the glamour and the restaurants and the bar scene and stuff. So we go to this one place. I don't even remember the name of it, dude. I was just like, cool, yeah, I'll meet you there. We get there, and I was
like a rooftop. It was like a rooftop restaurant bar or something.
It was like there was a bunch of stories.
BOA Steakhouse, was it that one?
That's in Santa Monica, right?
No, it's like Beverly Hills, like Century City. It's like I always call it Bank of America, but it's BOA Steakhouse. But yeah,
no, it could have been. I don't remember the name honestly, but I don't know if it was a steak. I mean, I got steak. I had two. Actually, I got 2 filet mignons because the guy was like, "You look like you can eat. How about 2 fillets?" I was like, "Bring it on." You know what I mean? And I was like, "You buying?" You know what I mean? He requested the meeting, so this is like a date, bro. If I ask you out on a date, I'm buying, right? So we go to this, and he got me 2 filet mignons. And I had like a lobster tail. I mean, he took care of me. He was a super nice guy. I don't remember the name of the place, but it was off the main strip there, Beverly Hills, Beverly Boulevard, I think it is. And we go. It was like, yeah, we're at the patio seating at this point, and people are walking by, and like you're talking like movie stars are walking by. Like the day before, J-Lo and Ben Affleck were seen dining at this particular restaurant. So they were still talking. So they were still talking about it there at the restaurant. Anyway, I'm getting looks left and right. He knows everybody. He's so connected within that community. He's an older guy, and everybody's like, "Hey, what's up?" He's like, "Oh, he's mingling. Meet my friend Paul. This is Paul." Everybody's like, "Oh, you know," and everybody's like blown away. And I'm just like, "Oh yeah, my strength and conditioning coach. My strength and conditioning." All I was talking about was Skylar and how he got me in this shape, and how it's from Newalt. Just got done with the TV pilot, blah blah blah. And that's what this meeting was about because I was basically I was trying to pitch the TV pilot. He was trying to talk to me about some of the project. I was trying to pitch the TV pilot because I wanted the Walt to get picked up because I had already lost Netflix at that time. So anyway, yeah, it was a great experience because the physique alone got so many people coming up and talking to me, and so many stares and so many just like that, that look. It's just that people don't understand, that they don't realize they're staring. And then there was other meetings that came from this one, other subsequent meetings, but like this one was the time where I was like, okay, this is different. Because any other time I go to a meeting in Hollywood, it was like, I wouldn't. It was just, I was just another guy. But now if I go in a tank top straight out of the contest where I'm just like jacked, like, and I had put some more size back on because I lost some size from West Coast Classic. So it was even more so. But yeah, it was a good experience to understand that not only is it good for your health to get in shape, but it's also good for your business, for your career. No matter what that is, not just acting or not just producing or whatever. If you're a car salesman, if I come up to you and you're in great shape behind the suit and tie or a button-up shirt and slacks, I'm going to take notice.
Right.
Mostly everybody will.
That's true.
And I always tell Paul too, when you we're all good looking dudes. We're bigger built dudes. And when you get really lean and stuff, what do most people think? Oh, it's some meathead or some ass, right? He's an asshole. That's what people always think. And then when you're actually nice to them, then they're like, oh God, this guy's actually a nice dude. And then it just opens the floodgates, and they like automatically are trusting you, which is awesome because it makes everything that we do as sales and marketing wise easier. Like I told Paul, we were trying to tell our partner, when we get leaner, people start contacting you. You no longer have to really chase people down. They start running you down because they're wanting, and it also tells you, hey, if Mark gets in shape, he's a hard worker, he's disciplined, he's got a regimented life, so he can do other things as well. So it's almost like college. I tell people with college, it's not about just getting that degree. It's going to school, and then, hey, you have to show up to class. You do all these little small things that prepare you for real life. And so It is just cool. And it's really cool to empower people with confidence. When that's why we do Ready to Win, is just to help general population, is because if you look good and you feel good, you're going to have a lot more confidence out there. And I always tell people, I really like taking people, getting them in shape, them going on vacation or going out on the dating scene. And then they start meeting people when they weren't meeting people before. Because let's be honest, like a lot of people get that first initial reaction off of that physical attraction. And so when you get a little bit better in shape, and tell you, I look a lot better when I'm in shape than I do when I'm fluffy, because my face, I get jawbones and cheekbones. Other than that, I look like a chipmunk in the off season. That's why I grew my beard out originally. So, but it is cool to empower people with that and everything like that. So
it's funny you said it, because I was telling Paul, like, when he first started getting big, I was like, oh yeah, people are going to say things. People are going to, they're going to assume that you're like a mean guy. I think we went to New York to visit a friend, and we were walking up to the bar. We were just looking at the menu, and this guy, like, we were like big dudes, and this guy was like, why do you guys look so angry? And it's like, you see what I'm saying? They always like, I've dealt with that since my early 20s. I've dealt with people in their snide remarks or like comments, or they think I'm one way or not, or they think I'm gonna eat everything because I'm a big. It's just like, stop it, So
yeah, yeah. Well, especially in the gym world, like we said, our partner that we had been working with, he got treated badly in the gym and got picked on a little bit. He was where these bigger guys would just come up and take his weight off of the bar and then just take it from him. I'm like, first of all, if somebody did that to me, yeah, bro. If somebody did that to me, I'm smashing your face in with a fucking 5-pound weight. Like, I'm fucking using it like brass knuckles. Like, I'm playing that game. That's some disrespectful bullshit. But I told him, I'm like, dude, when you go to the gym, that was 10 years ago. That was 10 years ago. So I told him, I said, bro, when you go to the gym now, I said, people are usually a lot nicer. I was like, you don't really find, it's a different generation now. Back then, 10 years ago, it was a little bit different. We all know that. I'm 35. You guys we're all around the same age. So we know that, it was a little bit more the older school people. Now, in the bodybuilding world, and Paul can tell you, actually, I'll tell this story real quick. I love this story. Mark will probably like this too. And Paul, you might remember this. We went to the Tampa Pro, one of the biggest pro shows. It might be, what is it? It's Olympia and Arnold are about the obviously the two biggest. And then you've got New York Pro, Pittsburgh Pro. And then Tampa Pro might be in there with that. So it might be like the 5th biggest show in our league. And we went to that show, and across the street, they had a Comic-Con thing here in Tampa. So I'm like, this is going to be awesome. I'm going to be able to people watch and watch these big muscular people and these nerdy people mingle and not get along. I'm thinking it's going to be like oil and water. Nope. The bodybuilders had all brought, these are professional bodybuilders, guys. They had all brought, they're like Dragon Ball Z shit. They all these professional bodybuilders were over at the Comic-Con actually participating in it. I'm like, that is the but this day and age with bodybuilding, a lot of them had gotten picked on in the past. A lot of them had gotten made fun of or bullied in the past. There is not very many guys necessarily in the pro leagues even that are former athletes. You know, a lot of them were guys that just like to work out, or guys that were kind of the nerdy ones that got picked on and didn't want to do that. So that was kind of a cool thing to see everybody interact and get along. And that's what we tried to tell our partner was like, hey, you know, nowadays people will take you under their wing if you're nice and you ask them out of respect. And he's not respectful all the time. Paul knows this, but he was respectful in the gym. And so I told him, I'm like, dude, that time it sucks that ruined you for the gym. Now he thinks everybody's a meathead and everybody's an asshole like that. I'm like, dude, it's not really like that anymore. It's a lot different nowadays. It's more of a tight-knit community and a lot more people are friendly. Now, there are people that are shitbags. Like one guy, I think, thought I was like looking at his girlfriend. I'm in prep and I'm zoned out. I'm not even paying attention. And I see this guy staring at me. So, you know, I go over and ask him if he's got an issue and you know, and obviously he says no. And then, you know, so we resolved that real quick, but I told him, I said, okay, it doesn't happen that much anymore in the gyms. It's people are a lot more understanding of where people in their journey, you know, they want to be there to help them. So it is a lot cooler in the industry nowadays. And Mark, you're going to come work a booth with us, aren't you? At one of the shows?
Yeah.
We're going to probably do a booth at that class show. So,
okay.
Yeah. So what we can end up doing is just running it. I mean, we'll probably have my girl run it so we can concentrate on the show. But once we're done, you'll see you're just hanging out there all day. When you're on, Paul, how long do you think you're on stage? I mean, it's like 5 minutes. I mean,
it's there and it's gone. I mean, all together, because with
it's
your
fast,
individual
bro.
routine, with comparisons, maybe 10 minutes.
Maybe 10 minutes. So then you have, you know, obviously you want to be resting and stuff like that, but then, you know, you've got some time and so even if we don't do this booth because we're competing, we'll have probably somebody run one, or we'll run one soon, but that'll be a cool thing for you. Cause I think from what Paul and me were talking about with your entrepreneurial background, I think you'll flourish in this, man. I think you'll be an amazing ambassador and work your way up and just crush it, man. I really do. I've been in sales for 11 years because I've been doing PT for 11 years. So, you know, I was in this little shithole down the road and I sold $22,500 of PT in 1 month. And so once you learn, you know, the sales game and you polish up that mouthpiece and that pitch, it's not easy, but it is a lot more comfortable, I should say, because sales can, you guys all know it, sales can, talking to people like that can be a little nerve-wracking at first. But yeah, man, when you have that transformation like what you're talking about, I mean, Paul gets blown when he starts to get in shape. He just gets, and same with me. When we start to get in shape, we just get flooded with messages asking us. I'll tell you what, Mark, if you put how to actually lose weight online and gave them full thing and just wrote it or gave them all the information, they don't give a shit. If you look good though, then they're going to be like, hey, how'd you do that? I want to look like you. You're like, I just gave you the information all year, you son of a bitch. But you now because I'm in shape, you want to come ask me. Yeah. Okay, we'll help you.
But I mean, you know what goes in, what goes hand in hand with all that. What goes hand in hand with all that is basically the moral of the story today, which is in today's economy, in today's day and age, you have to be part of the hustle economy. Mm-hmm. And with bodybuilding, especially, as with anything, honestly, it's not even just bodybuilding anymore. Like, this is your business card, right? Not just this, but it's this. It's everything. It's how you live your life. So if you're selling, at the end of the day, we're all selling something. You know, we might be selling different products, but we're selling something by and large. So whether it be you're a bartender, a server, a restaurant manager, a restaurant owner, a car dealership owner, a salesman, whatever it is, you're selling something to some degree. So, and just like Skylar said, the best way I could put it is you look good, you feel good, you play good, you get paid good. It's full circle. It's just like, you know,
and then you get laid good.
Wow.
You can't argue with that.
Yeah. No, that's actually true. That he's very right. Very true. He's very right.
That goes into the 3 pillars that I talk about with my young men, right? Mark, we were just talking about this earlier today, right? money, looks, status.
Oh yeah,
it's all part of that program. It's all part of that program. So yeah, and at the end of the day, like I said, entrepreneurship for me, whether I knew it or not, I was getting into it when I was 24. I had no idea what I was doing, but I was doing it anyway. I didn't care about the how. I didn't care about anything else, but let's just do this and let's figure it out. I was not afraid to fail. And that's kind of the moral. Like I said, the moral of the story today, you can't be afraid to start. You can't be afraid to fail. So if you want to be an entrepreneur in this day and age, which you kind of have to be, you can't rely upon one source anymore. With all with the prices the way they are and the economy like it is, you got to be ahead of the game. So again, that's why we're able to in our sport and what Skylar and I do, with Ready to Win and For the Lions and all these other things, like Mark, you and I have other business ventures as well. Like these are the things that you have to do. You have to, if there's no options, there's no opportunities, you create them yourselves.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I used to think, like you were saying with the bodybuilding, personal trainers being grinders, but just in entrepreneurship and sales, if you are not a grinder and a hustler, it doesn't matter how talented you are. Like, that doesn't matter. It matters how hard you grind. Because if you grind, look at Paul. Paul started grinding on his sales, sold like 3 or 4 programs in 2 days. So, that's what it's about, is just putting in that time and that energy and just never stopping, just that relentless effort towards that end goal.
It's kind of like this, Skylar. It's like basically what we create is a mastermind group, right? Mm-hmm. We all get together, we all create whatever that might be. With us, it's all fitness based, obviously, but it's all entrepreneurial based. That's how it starts. And it's a mastermind group that Mark and I have been talking about for years. We've always been thinking about things outside of the box, and that's kind of like what you and I talk about, Skylar. If you notice, we'll shoot the shit a little bit, but by and large, you and I are always talking about business, bro.
Oh,
right?
Yeah. A lot of business, yeah.
So, Mark, what would you say would be a good piece of advice for, let's say a young guy's coming up and he wants to create his own business, whatever that might be. What would you say a good place to start would be?
I'd say educating himself on the opportunities, how easy it is, like understanding it today. Because it's totally different today than it's ever been. Because most people aren't being educated on it. They still have that, go to college and get a degree in something and just get a job. You know what I mean? Versus, the hustle economy, building businesses, building, networks and strategizing, become an entrepreneur, and using the hustle economy, like Grubhub, what is it? Uber, Lyft, those being a server, being a bartender, things where you can make a good amount of money in a short period of time, but you can still pursue your passions, because that's what really matters. But you can still take care of yourself. You know what I mean? So that's I would definitely say that today that's the way to go. In 2022, that's definitely the way to go, because and people are going to start feeling it even more as we go further into this into this recession. They're going to feel it. They're going to know, like, oh man, maybe my job is not so secure.
Think about this, like we just hit 9.1% inflation.
Mm-hmm.
It has not been that high since 1979.
Mm-hmm.
Or 1980, like right in the late 70s, early 80s. That's the last time and that was when Jimmy Carter was leaving and Ronald Reagan was coming in. Yeah. So now more than ever, it's time to be on top of your game. Again, if there's no opportunities, create an opportunity. Think outside the box. Think of the things you can get involved in. Involve yourself with some sort of mentorship or mentor program, even if it's just some guy that you see who is just. He's an entrepreneur, even if it's at a lower level. Like, let's just say he owns a restaurant or a bar or a grocery store or a market or a liquor store, whatever. Go and ask if you can pick his brain. Ask how you started, why you started, how much can you make, how much profit, and start learning these things about, profit, loss and gain margins and stuff like that. Like, you could start learning so much on this, whatever it is that you want to get into, that it'll blow your mind. And it's free education. There's a lot of people that'll just tell you that. You know what I mean? If you ask, you got to ask though. You got to go get that information, and it's not going to come to you.
Shit, with YouTube, like podcast. That's why I love doing this podcast right here. Because if I was a young man coming into entrepreneurship, this might not have been the best podcast sometimes because I don't like sales. I like grinding and hustling, but I got into sales and I didn't want to leave PT. I could have went to strength and conditioning, but I didn't want to have to be moving all the time. And so that's where, it is cool to do stuff like this so that the young men, young women, just entrepreneurial type people, or people that, hear, oh, you won't make money in bodybuilding, don't even waste your time with it. Well, you can make a lot of fucking money is what you can do, but you have to know what you're doing. When I looked up YouTube videos and stuff like that about bodybuilding, there was hardly any. It was hard to get research on it. So that's why it's cool for us. Now that's a lot better. That was 4 years ago now, 3.5 years ago, but it's starting to get a little bit better where they're getting people like Bodybuilding and Bullshit, the Nick Trigili podcast, where they're doing just bodybuilding. And just other than that, it was like, Generation Iron. Remember those movies? Pumping Iron with Arnold. I watched that a million times, back in the day. Even before I liked or knew I was going to bodybuild, I watched it all the time. And they just don't have a lot out there for people to learn about this stuff. And I went to graduate school. I've got my master's through Northwest Missouri State. And, other than learning how to read studies and different things like that, a lot of the stuff that I do out in the field with what our businesses that me and Paul own, I guess, I learned some stuff along the way through school, but a lot of it was out in the experiences in the work world, And so that's one thing too, is like Marques said, he does finance, but he didn't necessarily go to school. That's fine. If you still get the numbers right and you still are, it is what it is. It's just like me. I never took a lot of business. I took some business classes in grad school. Other than that, I didn't do a lot of business, but we run multiple businesses together and do pretty well. So, you do learn a lot. And like Paul said, go pick somebody's brain. That's the best thing, especially somebody you kind of look up to. If there's somebody that you like what they're doing and you respect them and you look up to them, go pick their brain, man. That's the best thing to do.
Yeah, it's funny you said, because even in the finance realm, like when you start talking about building your business, like I was telling Paul, buying established businesses that are already established, and that way you already have the assets there. There's not too much information on that. So same thing with bodybuilding and finance. There's not a lot of information, and then how to build that business, how to merge it with other businesses and turn it into a conglomeration. You only really hear about it like on the large, like Warren Buffett levels, right? But no, that can start out as a on the small level too. Just for instance, Bank of America, I think they started out in San Francisco just as a one branch bank, right? But then when they wanted to expand, they started buying other established banks versus opening new branches elsewhere. You know what I'm saying? Excuse me. Gotcha. And then when they wanted, so every state has different banking laws. So when they wanted to go to another state, they bought like another bank in that state that already had that license and everything, and then turned it into Bank of America. You see what I'm saying? So it was just 100%. Like, yeah, and it's just being creative. You know what I mean? Like that, So you can do that with anything. So yeah.
Gyms will do it too, believe it or not. Gyms, Get Fitness. This is great. Get Fitness down the road. They sold for a decent chunk of change, but they had lied about the numbers, inflated the numbers of the members and things like that. But that's why that gym went and bought them. Yeah, and then he left the state. I was like, he's a dirtball. What a dirtbag. But then he moved back to Florida, and then opened another gym under his wife's name. He's a real classy guy. But that the people that came in and bought his gym, it was just like you were saying, they wanted something established, because sometimes that grind. And if they wouldn't have done that, bro, COVID hit right when they were starting to kind of get rolling, and they took a hit. But since they bought that gym, they already had all those members. If they would have just been brand new, they would have been done.
And that's the thing. And see, that was kind of what I was telling Paul about, how you can deal with shady business owners that you buy from. And there's a lot of questions you have to ask, because people can they'll sell you their business, but then they'll open up across the street, and then everybody has a relationship with them, and then they'll take the clients over there. So they made money off of you, and they still have their clients,
Oh,
hell
yeah.
That's something. But yeah, no, that's good that you guys have done a big thing with this, Ready to Win and for the Lions. It's you can definitely grow. They call that inorganic growth, but you can definitely grow that way as well, where you're just buying other platforms or businesses and just adding it and just putting it all under your umbrella. that's the fast way to grow.
That's probably the best way to do it right there, Paul. We have the capital early on.
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
I mean, shoot, Mark and I have talked about several things. Like, I mean, dude, like I said, talk about this mastermind group, and again, the best advice I can give to young people out there, or people in general, doesn't matter where you're at in life, but if you want to be an entrepreneur, if you want to, go after something that's yours in the universe, or something that you're interested in, just go. And you figure it out as you go. You ask a lot of questions. And I learned from Mark a lot of things about, like he said, buying businesses that are established. Because I've always wanted to own my own bar, right? But I didn't want to just own one bar. I always wanted to own a bar. I wanted to make that bar the best it could be. And then I wanted to open up another one just like it. Then another one just like it. Then another one just like it. And then I wanted to open all these bars and have it be this big ass thing that everybody knows about. And everybody wants to come to Paul Winston's bar because everybody wants to have a good time. That was always I've always had that goal since I first started bartending, because when I went to bartending school back in the day, I learned that bartending is like a depression, recession proof job.
Yes,
everybody's always going to want their poison. Everybody's always going to want to drink, right? And it's like, it is what it is, and everybody wants to have a good time. They want to go to a place after work or whatever their situation is, and they want to go have a good time. They want to forget about whatever else. So I've always wanted to do that. So I've learned a lot about this. A lot of it has to do with Mark. You're learning about the industry, and because he's had the financial background, and I mean, shoot, Mark's since we were real young, man. Mark, you were into like real estate, mortgage broker, like a lot of things that were like this independent style of making money.
Awesome.
And it is, because you learn so much about the game, and whether you didn't make a lot of money or you did, you learned a lot. And in the game of life, it's all about learning. That's what it's all about, the journey. It's about learning in that process. It's not about the destination. It's about that process of getting to the destination.
100%.
It's funny you say that, because the people that made more than me, a lot of them aren't even in they were just making money and they were spending it. Literally, that's all they did. And I'm just like, bro, you made all that money and then you have nothing to show for it at all. They're just, it happens every recession we have, it happens, and it's just like the same thing over and over and over again. So it's sad, but
Well, I love ours is different because we're entrepreneurs, but in regular businesses, you see people get a promotion, and then they're maybe they were doing paycheck to paycheck, or maybe they were just a little comfortable, and then they get a promotion. Instead of having the same means of living as they were before, now they upgrade everything or go get. So they're still
raise that debt ceiling.
That's what they're taught to do. It's sad, because most of us, like, here's a side note, bro. Ron DeSavage, governor of Florida. I call him Ron DeSavage. He's implementing financial and like a lot of money management courses into schools, for high schools for the kids, so they can understand, like, when none of us, all three of us, we didn't have that education coming out of school. We had to learn it on our own. I put myself into massive credit card debt once I got my first credit card, you know what I mean? Just like all of us did. And it's like, if had I known better, I wouldn't have done that.
Well,
I didn't know. I didn't have any financial education.
I didn't get a credit card, and because I was like, credit cards just get you debt, so I didn't get one. Then I didn't have credit for the longest time. So I thought I was doing the right thing. I was like, what the hell? I did the same thing. They didn't teach us shit in school about it.
My girl, Georgia, she turned me on to, it's like a robust platform of like personal wealth, personal health, business. There's courses, Allison.com, free courses, personal development, business development, all kind of stuff. I don't know where she found this from, but it's that's definitely something that young entrepreneurs can use to really educate themselves. Allison.com.
Well, Mark, isn't there something with Google too, where you can get like Google
search?
You can get search from Google and stuff like that, and use that. I mean, that's pretty cool too. I remember seeing that when I first started kind of doing my entrepreneurial stuff. And looking into that. Well, because shit, like I had, like, ask Paul, I do our graphic design and stuff. I'm not saying I'm the best, but you got to teach yourself. And luckily they have things like that where you can go, Do that. Or old YouTube University. YouTube University, baby.
Yes. No, honestly,
Ain't that the truth,
YouTube,
bro?
Yeah,
It's the
I've
truth.
learned a lot. Yeah, I've learned a lot from YouTube and just reading websites and taking courses, online courses, going through school for like business, finance, investment banking like that, and then actually doing it as well, working for different companies. But it was all self-taught.
See,
Learning.
Paul, this is why he's crushing Ready to Win, because he don't mind reading and doing that stuff. That's why he's like scoping it all up.
It's like self-taught. Yeah, you know what I mean? And it's something that if it's something you really like even with Ready to Win, I mean, people are going to come up. I know because it happens with Paul. People are going to, you're a big dude, you're in shape, especially when they see veins in your abs, they're going to want, I want that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I want to look like that. Even if I don't look like that, I want to look similar to that. And then, you're your own business card and your walking billboard.
Exactly.
Walking billboard. That's what you are. Yeah. So
just go do it. That's what he was saying. Paul was saying, just go do it. Don't wait. Just go do it. Don't stick your toe in the pool, jump in the pool. You don't want to ever live with regrets. The longer you wait, this life is finite. It is not forever. And we don't know when the big guy upstairs is going to call us upstairs. So there is no time for waiting. There is no time for second guessing. You need to follow your passion, and you need to follow your heart, and you need to follow, people that, Paul's became one of my best friends over the years. Mark, I know we're going to get real close brothers. I mean, when you bleed like this with bodybuilding, I mean, Iron Brothers, you get very close, like with I am with my football guys from college and high school. But the biggest thing with jumping in is don't be scared of failure. That's what I want to say, guys. Don't be scared of failure. Without failure, there is no growth. If you don't fail, you will not grow. So until you fail on that field, till you fail in that business, till you fail a little bit in school. Funny thing is, I got a D in anatomy, and then when I went and did my certification, I nailed my National Academy Sports Medicine corrective exercise specialist, and it was just, I learned from failure. I learned like, hey, I could have done this better, and this better, and the next time I fucking rocked it. And and that's the biggest thing is don't let failure hinder you. Don't let fear hinder you. You need to be bold, you need to be brave, and you need to be fearless. And that's what being a fucking lion is about. And that's what our brand is about. That's what this guy right up here is about. And that's what we're bringing you onto the team for, Mark, because you're a fucking lion, brother.
And that's why we created this brand, dude. It's because, you and I clicked so well in the beginning, and it was all about, we both believed in hard work. That's where it started. It started with, because I believe in hard work. I believe in sweat equity. So the equity that you get in your life out of sweating for something, out of work, earning something, it's unmatched. So two things. Number one, you got to start. It doesn't matter where you are. You have to begin. It doesn't matter if you feel you're at the bottom or at the top. Whatever goal you have, whatever thing you want to accomplish, begin. Don't worry about how you're going to get there. Don't worry about whatever. You take it day by day, step by step. You don't look too far in advance, otherwise you're going to get overwhelmed. Number two, always remember, it's about the journey. It's not about that destination. Yeah, you might want to be the biggest movie star in the world. Yeah, you might want to be Mr. Olympia. You might want to be the next Warren Buffett. Don't worry about that destination. Keep it in mind, but it's all about that journey of getting to that destination, which is really going to define you as a person. Because you see so many people this day and age, they want to catch the touchdown. They want to hit the home run, but they don't want to put the practice in to get to the home run, to get to the touchdown. So it's about that journey to get there. Practice, step by step, guys. That's it.
That's it.